All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. April 24th, we got a jam-packed day of MLB baseball that we're gonna jump into each and every game. I'll give you my lean on the game. We'll talk about the total, and my final plays will be in the pinned comment. I tell you guys that every video. If you're looking for what I'm actually rolling with, what I'm most comfortable in, if you want to ride with my official picks, if you want to fade my official picks, those will be in the pinned comment, and I update that throughout the day, guys. In terms of yesterday, I guess all good things must come to an end here. We go 0-2. We had been red hot in the MLB, and I don't know if this is gonna cool us off here, but it is a little bit of a slap in the face. We've been red hot, winning, and boom, an 0-2 night. We're not gonna let it get to us, guys. On the season, I did see a comment being like, oh, what's your record on the season? We'll pop it up on the screen right now. In the bottom right corner of the screen, you can see we're actually up 21 units on this season, which is absolutely absurd. Only, just less than a month into the season. We are off to a red hot start. Hopefully we keep that going. We shall see. But yeah, we've had some absolute money line bangers. You can see we're actually up almost 20, or we're up just over 20 units on the money line plays altogether. That is that first line in the table. But yeah, let's keep the momentum going. Let's forget about last night. 0-2. It's not gonna kill us. Let's jump into tonight's games, guys. Before we do that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you are new, and hit that like button. We hit 22,000 subscribers yesterday. Cannot thank you guys enough. In fact, let's pump in some crowd noise. Round of applause. Thank you guys. You guys have been absolutely killing in terms of the love and support as of late, and the hate. But you know, I love the hate as well. They don't boo nobodies. So hopefully you guys do enjoy today's video. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Again, run up that like button. Let's go. We got the Cubs taking on the Dodgers here. Cubs on the money line plus 161. I know the graphic does not have a total, but the total has now come out. It is 9.5. It actually opened at 8.5 and moved to 9.5 very, very quickly. Yesterday's game between these two was rather low scoring for most of the game, and then all of a sudden the Dodgers turned it on. They win that game 6-2 here. And obviously, you know, we leaned towards the Dodgers yesterday because they had to be pissed after losing 2 of 3 to both the Cubs and the Mets in back-to-back series. Then they got another shot at the Cubs, and they definitely took advantage. You get Drew Smyly on the mound today. He's got a 4.7 ERA. And Urias on the mound for the Dodgers. He's got a 1.9 ERA with a 3-1 record. The Dodgers money on the money line, like I lean towards them money line today, but that money isn't all that great at minus 169. In terms of odds, so I would lean towards the Dodgers here on the run line, but that's only minus 103, so I'm probably sticking away from a side of this game. I do lean towards the Dodgers clearly. I don't really want to, you know, I guess kind of get wrapped in and thinking the Cubs will bounce back. They could, I'm not gonna lie, but I do think that this is a Dodgers series where, you know, they gotta kind of come out of the gates hot, and this is the second game of the series. So I'm gonna lean towards Dodgers money line. I don't think that becomes a final play because there's just a lot of juice involved if you are gonna pull the trigger there. In terms of a total, I really don't mind the over here ever so slightly though. This is altogether probably a game that I might chalk up and fade away. Moving on, we got the Pirates taking on the Reds here. Pirates minus 140 on the money line here. Total is sitting at 8.5. Yesterday, the Pirates beat the Cincinnati Reds here 4-3. Pittsburgh had Contreras on the mound, and Luke Weaver was on the mound for the Cardinals here. I'm going to start with a total in this one, 8.5. I do think that this is a little bit of an overreaction to yesterday. We've seen both these teams score plenty of runs, also, you know, a lack thereof, but plenty of runs in plenty of games this season, Pirates especially, and I think that this drops down to 8.5 here due to the fact that we had a 7 total yesterday. So I do think that I'm going to lean towards the over in this one. And then in terms of a side, I don't really trust the Cincinnati Reds yet. Keller on the mound for the Pirates. He's 1-0 with a 3.8 ERA. Ashcraft on the mound for the Reds. He's 2-0 with a 1.4 ERA. So this season included here, the Reds do have the better pitcher going, but I'm not going to put too much weight into that. I am going to lean Pirates money line in this one. And the total, again, 8.5. I do like the over. All right, Tampa Bay taking on the White Sox here. The Rays have Foucher on the mound. No decisions yet this season, but he has a 4.15 ERA. And then Michael Kopech on the mound for the White Sox, 0-2 with a 6.32 ERA. Tampa Bay minus 175 on the money line at home. Total is sitting at 8.5 runs. Tampa Bay coming off of a series where they took 2 of 3 against Cincinnati in the last 2 games, 10-0 and 8-0. Now, I often get the comments, Ev, you know, the teams don't think about the last game. This isn't basketball, blah, blah, blah. They don't, you know, come off with a chip on their shoulder. Tell me how that's true if the Rays lose 8-1 in game 1 of that series against the Reds and then come out and win 10-0 and 8-0. That type of, storyline does exist. I'm not saying you put weight into it or that's like the biggest determining factor of a play, but these are humans. You know what I mean? Like, you don't think that they take offense to losing 8-1, and then the White Sox coming off of a series in which they lose 2 of 3 to the Phillies here. I like the Rays in this one. I don't mind their money line. You're getting plus money at plus 112. The money line here, minus 175, but again, I don't mind their run line, minus 1.5 here for plus 112. Could this White Sox team kind of shock the world? I've seen a lot of people this morning. I think that a lot of the money is on the White Sox, ever so slightly. I shouldn't say a lot, but in plenty of sources in terms of sites where you can look up money and bet percentage, some people are taking the White Sox here. So maybe there's something we're missing. Again, I don't really think that Kopech is off to the best start to the season. Again, 0-2 with a 6.3, all right? The Rays, one of the better teams in the MLB right now. I think it's a pretty safe play to lean towards them, but that money line doesn't get it going for me. Minus 175. I am going to take a peek at the run line. In terms of the total, 8.5, I don't see how you can't really expect this one to go over. All right, moving on, we got the Phillies taking on the Rockies here. Phillies very big favorites, minus 280, total sitting at 8.5. Aaron Nola on the mound for the Phillies, got a 5.9 ERA. Noah Davis on the mound for the Rockies here. In terms of their last game, Colorado wins this one 5-0. So all of a sudden, the books say, okay, well, the Phillies were minus 230 yesterday. They lose 5-0. Let's make a minus 280 today. Seems a little crazy to me. What I don't mind here is you're getting Colorado. I don't think the money line is the play for them today. If you do want to risk it, plus 258. Like that's a parlay in some cases, and you're taking them money line here. But I'm going to lean towards Colorado plus the 1.5 at plus 116 odds. Some plus money there and getting a couple runs against a team that they ended up beating yesterday and shutting out. I don't mind that spot. In terms of a total 8.5, I'm actually going to lean towards the under here. Again, we saw a 5-0 game yesterday. We're not in Colorado. We're in Philadelphia. I'm going to lean towards the under here as well. In terms of the weather there, there's direct wind at 10 to 12 mile an hour winds coming directly into the batter's face. No real chance of precipitation, and it is going to be mostly sunny. So that wind being a factor that we do like to see for the under, coming right back at the batter, but not the biggest of weather issues there. Meteorologist Ev reporting for duty. All right, moving on, we got the Yankees taking on the Blue Jays here. Herman on the mound for the Yankees. He's 1-1 with a 3.86 ERA. And then Kikichi on the mound for the Jays. He's 2-0 with a 4.7 ERA. The Yankees are minus 125 at home. Total is sitting at 9 runs. The Yankees coming off of catching the last 2 wins against the Angels in that series. They won 3-2 and then 9-3. Toronto lost 2 of 3 to Houston last series. And honestly, the 2 that they lost bad. 9-2 and 8-1. I like this spot for the Yankees. I'm going to pay that money here, minus 125. I think it's pretty good odds. In terms of the total here, 9 runs. I think this one just creeps over just slightly, maybe a 10-run game. So if that can give you sort of any indication as to how confident I am in this, I wish this was 8.5. I'll put it like that. So I do think that I lean towards the over, but ever so damn slightly. All right, moving on, we got the Orioles taking on the Tigers here. Orioles minus 180 at home on the money line. Total is sitting at 8.5 in this one. Orioles 11-7 on the year. They're trotting out Tyler Wells today, who was 0-1 with a 3.86 ERA. Michael Lorenzen on the mound for the Tigers. He's got a 13.5 ERA. Now, I have been fading the Tigers for a while now, and it kind of started to kill me. They won 5 straight games. They took one against Toronto, mini sweep against San Francisco, winning 2 of 2, and then took 2 of 3 against Detroit, which is absolutely crazy to me. But Baltimore's coming off a pretty good win streak as well. They've won 7 of their last 10 games. They mini swept Washington. They took 2 of 3 against the White Sox, 2 of 3 against 3 of 4 against Oakland. Now, they haven't really truly been battle tested in the last couple series, but I will say the Tigers aren't a battle test type team either. So even though it's a bunch of juice, I am going to lean towards Baltimore here on the money line. I'm going to continue to fade this Tigers team. In terms of the total, though, 8.5. I think this one actually sticks under. I don't think that the Tigers are going to carry their own weight in this one. And again, if you want to fade that pick, I get it. Minus 180 on the money line. Totally understand it. I just don't really love Baltimore on the run line, having to win by 2 runs here. So I am going to possibly, if this were to become a final play, possibly pay that juice. All right, the Guardians are hosting the Marlins here. Guardians has Plesak on the mound. He's 1-0 with a 6.9 ERA. They're 10-9 on the season, as are the Marlins with Garrett on the mound. He's got a 3.3 ERA. Guardians minus 133 at home. The Marlins just took 2 of 3 against San Francisco and Cleveland. We just talked about it. They lost 2 of 3 against Detroit, and they lost the game before that too. I forget who they last played, but they've lost 3 out of their the Nationals. They've lost 3 out of their last 4 games. I do lean Guardians in this one. I think that their recent track record is helping their odds here. I think they're much better. I shouldn't say much better, but I think they're a better team in this spot, especially at home against the Marlins here. So I'm going to lean towards them. Minus 133, I think, is good odds. And again, I think their recent history is kind of affecting those odds. If both teams had equal last 2 series, I guess you could say, going into this game, I think we're looking at the Guardians probably 10 points lower in terms of, minus 145 or that type of thing. So I think this is a good spot for them. I think the fact they haven't been playing the best baseball helps their odds here. Does it hurt their baseball here? Possibly. They could still be in that slump, in that rut. But, new series, new them. I like the Guardians today. In terms of the total 8 runs, I like the under as well. A lot of unders today, or at least as of late on the video. We do have a bunch of overs coming in the back half of this video, I'll be honest. All right, moving on, we got the Braves taking on the Astros here. I think it's going to be a very, very good series. Braves 14-5 on the season. Elders on the mound. He's 2-0 with a 1.5 ERA. Then we have Brown on the mound for the Astros, 2-0 with a 1.93 ERA. Braves are, in terms of odds here, they're minus 115 at home. And this total is sitting at 8.5 runs. This Houston team, kind of already talked about when we were talking about Toronto. They won 2 of 3, and they stomped Toronto in those 2 games. Atlanta surprisingly catches that L, and we were riding them. They won 8 in a row. We had them against San Diego. They lose 1-0. This is a wagon of a team, but this Houston team, obviously, at any given moment, can look like, the past, couple years Houston team when they're very, very good. In this case, though, I am going to lean towards Atlanta. I'm just trusting them that they're a little bit better, and they lost last game. They want to get back into the winner's circle here after winning 8 straight games. So that is going to be the direction that we lean in terms of a money line play. And then in terms of a total, I'm going under here. 2 decent pitchers, especially with those ERA numbers to start the season here. And you just have 2 good ball clubs. I could see them definitely taking this series very, very seriously and having a little bit more of a heightened intensity and environment. Moving on, we got the Texas Rangers hosting the Athletics here. Rangers 12-6 on the year. John Gray on the mound. He's got a 3.2 ERA. Sears on the mound for the 3-16 Athletics. He's got a 4.6 ERA, and rightfully so. This Texas Rangers team is minus 200 on the money line at home. The total is at 8.5 right now. I don't really have a play that I love that much on either side here. I guess the only thing that I would like would be Texas run line, but you're getting minus money, minus 107. Yes, it's close to even. It's not going to kill you, but still, I don't love when we're in the minus and we're taking a favored run line here at minus 1.5. So I might stick away from that. In terms of the total 8.5 runs, though, I think that this is where we start to see some overs play. Now, I don't think that this Oakland team is necessarily going to go out there and drop, 5 runs and do their part in their last 4 games. 3 runs, 1 run, 0 runs, and 2 runs. I think even in their game most recently, after that too, their 6th most recent game, I think they had either 2 or 3 runs as well. So they have not been scoring much as of late, but this Texas team can carry the weight. Texas, in their last 10 games, they've had 3 games of which they had 11 or more runs. Their last 2 games against Kansas City, they scored 12 runs in each. I think that they can carry the weight here and get this one to the over. All right, we got Milwaukee hosting the Red Sox here. Milwaukee, again, a quiet, really good season going on here. They're 14-5. They have Peralta on the mound, who's 2-1 on the season with a 3.1 ERA. Nick Pivetta on the mound for the Red Sox, 4.5 ERA, only 1 decision thus far, and it was a loss for him. Milwaukee, minus 180 on the money line, total sitting at 8.5 runs. This Red Sox team, in terms of their last series, coming off of taking 2 of 3 against Minnesota. I think I said in the video that I don't really trust this Red Sox team. I am a Red Sox fan, so I watch them more than anyone else. I still don't know exactly what to make of this season. They're just kind of like win-loss, 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 dinking dunking around the season. Milwaukee here won 4 straight games. They swept Seattle, which I think was very, very, very impressive, given the fact that only one of those games they were favorites in. They were underdogs in the final 2 games, and they won 6-5 and 5-3. The one thing that I will say is this Red Sox team has shown that they can keep into it with a lot of close games this season. Now, they've had plenty of games where they end up either blowing a team out or getting blown out, but when they are underdogs like they are today, I don't mind their run line +1.5 at -130 odds. That is going to be the direction that we lean in. And then in terms of a total, I think this is a very good chance for an over. This should be a double-digit ball game, given these two ball clubs. All right, the Twins hosting the Nationals. Mal on the mound for the Twins. He's 1-2 with a 4.1 ERA. Trevor Williams on the mound for the Nationals, 1-1 with a 3.5 ERA. Twins, heavy favorites, -210 in this one. Total sitting at 8 runs. I know it might be crazy, but I like the Nationals in this game, +190 on the road. Now, I'm not going to go out there and blow smoke up your you-know-what and say the Nationals are good. They've lost 7 of their last 10 games on the season. They are 5-13. We're looking for their 6th win today, but I am going to lean Nationals money line +190. Seems like very good value here. I think there's a little bit of I think that the Twins are way too juiced and just too favored, to be completely honest. And then in terms of the total, this is where I would kind of throw it out to, if you guys, I'm going to lean towards the over, but if you guys in the comments are like, no, this is an under game, I really wouldn't put it past you. So this is going to be one of those where I'm not all that confident, but I am going to lean the over just because that's what the numbers are telling me, guys. And speaking of the numbers, I should have said this to start the video, but we do have our player props, not player props, our spread, or I should say run line, money line, and total models coming out every single day for the members on the channel. That's 3 sort of bet lanes that you guys can look at and incorporate it in your research if you do want to become a baller. That's what we call the channel members. It's $2.99 a month, and we're putting out models for that. We're also putting a player points, rebounds, and assists model out for basketball, as well as a spread and total model. You guys get all that for $2.99 a month. A lot of sites charge like hundreds of dollars for models and whatnot. I have videos on the channel that, for free, that show you guys how to build a model. And then even for the ballers, NBA specific this season, we do have literally a 7 to 8 part series on how to build a model within Google Sheets, which if you have an internet connection, you have access to, and it's something that can be absolutely crucial to incorporate in your research. But we also do give you that Google Sheet link every single day for $2.99 a month if you do want to become a baller. All right, let's get the train back on the tracks. We've got the Angels taking on the Royals. Royals 4-15 on the season. Clark on the mound. He's 1-0, but he's got a 6.7 ERA. Shohei Ohtani on the mound for the Angels, 2-0 with a 0.86 ERA. You just can't fade the Angels here when Ohtani's on the mound. Their money line odds are terrible, again, at -280. Their run line odds are terrible, -135. So I wish that I could be like, oh, well, those are crappy. Let's lean towards the Royals. Not a chance in hell. So I'm going to lean towards the Angels here. It might just be a money line play, pay absolutely stupid juice, but to be able to get, I guess, -280 is absurd. I don't think it becomes a play, but it's the only lean that I can really conceive as a good play here. Again, I don't like laying that 2-run deficit to win by a 2-run margin, only to have to pay -135. I just don't like that from a mathematics standpoint. So not that this becomes a final play, but I do lean Angels money line. So if you want to throw them in some sort of a parlay or something like that, I think that could be a very good move. In terms of the total, 8.5 here. I think this one goes over, and not by the Royals doing. I think that this Angels team will put up some runs behind Ohtani. All right, the Diamondbacks taking on the Padres here. We had this game last night. Diamondbacks do not come through for us. In fact, they get beat, not I shouldn't say severely, but 7-5 here. Michael Wacha was on the mound for the Padres, and then Nelson was on the mound for the Diamondbacks. In terms of their last series before that, the Diamondbacks, the reason we took them yesterday was because they did come into that series after taking 2 of 3 against St. Louis, and they're only -108 on the money line here. This is a very even-sided affair right now, and I do think that I lean towards the Diamondbacks. Gallen on the mound for them, he's 2-1 with a 3.3 ERA. Lugo on the mound for the Padres, 2.7 ERA, with a 2-0 record. I am going to lean towards Diamondbacks yet again. I don't really want to keep riding with the Diamondbacks. It's not like a team that I love or fully trust, but I think that the numbers work out here, and I do like this side. I would say that I like the run line more than them money line though, but unfortunately that is kind of going to be paying some serious juice. If you were +1.5, I think it was -189. Yikes. So I guess I would lean towards that money line here, but I wouldn't mind getting a 1.5 to help us out there. In terms of a total, I like the over here as well. We saw last night they could score some runs. I think this one gets up into the double digits. All right, Mariners taking on the Cardinals here. Mariners minus 125 at home. Total is sitting at 8 runs. St. Louis on the money line plus 117. They have Steve Matz on the mound. He's 0-2 with a 6.4 ERA. Kirby on the mound for the Mariners, 1-1 with a 3.78 ERA. So I guess this season at least, the Mariners get the little pitching nod here, but I do think that this Cardinals team can, 1, keep it close, or 2, win this game. I'm going to lean towards the Cardinals here for plus money as an underdog, minus 117. I'm sure I'm going to look around and maybe, I don't even know if that is the best odds as of right now, but they're coming off of a win. Again, the Seattle Mariners just got swept by the Brewers. The only thing that might scare me off this pick is kind of what I talked about earlier in the video, is Seattle coming into the series being like, oh my God, we need a win in the worst way. We just got swept by a team that we feel we're better than. We need a win in the worst way type of thing. But I still am going to lean towards the Cardinals and also the over in this game as well. I think this is another double-digit ball game. In the last game here, we got the Mets taking on the Giants. Giants minus 108 at home. Total is sitting at 8.5 runs. Yesterday, we had the under, and we lose that one. 9-4 was the final score in favor of the Mets. I think this is one where you can trust the Mets. I think that they showed a little something yesterday. I think they are better than the San Francisco team. The only thing that does kind of, turn me off when it comes to this game is the fact that the Mets are only, they're tied right here with the Giants in terms of odds. Giants minus 108, Mets minus 108. I think that scares me a little bit. You got Lucchesi on the mound for the Mets, who we don't know much of this season, obviously. And then we have Anthony DeSclafani, I always mess that up, on the mound for the Giants, who has been pitching well. So kind of scares me off when Vegas has these odds and we're seeing this pitchers matchup. Probably get the nod towards the Giants, but I do think that this Mets offense can come alive. They've scored 9 runs, 5 runs. Yes, they scored 0 against the Dodgers, I believe, but before that, 8 runs, and they scored 17 runs within the last 7 games as well. So hopefully this offense comes alive for them. We can ride with that. But that is going to be my pick on the spread. And then in terms of a total, I like the over here as well. And that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Hope you guys do enjoy, and I'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.